Hey, how's it going? My name is Twin Crows. I've been creating tools like this for a little while, and normally I do scour modding, but I wanted to do a Cataclysm tool to kind of help make it easier, for both myself and other people who also want to make maps, to kind of get into it. And so this video, I just want to go through and show you how do you set up these maps, how do you use this tool, how do you do testing to make sure it's working in game and stuff. So yeah, if you'll bear with me, I'll go through all those steps, and by the end of it, hopefully you'll be able to create your own locations in Cataclysm, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so this is the tool. It's called the Hostile Architect, and essentially it's a painting tool. So you have these tabs at the top. If you click on this one here, you can see this is the painter. There's nothing in there yet. So the first step that you do is you click on this 24x, and what that's going to do is it generates all these tiles. And you have this little bar thing here, which is a slider that you can scale out if you want. You can drag around. So if you're zoomed in, you can drag around to get to see different parts. You also have this drop down here, which is for roads connecting. So if you want to have it being on a road or not, if it's just a cabin in the woods, you're going to go no road connect. But if you do want it to connect to a road, I'm going to click on this one. So I'll have a road north. And for here, I'm just going to leave in city setup. What that's going to do is it's going to generate it on both within a city, and also it's going to generate it with a sidewalk. So there's going to be the sidewalk going on the side that you see where your road's set. So up here, my sidewalk's going to be above this way. Okay, and then so the next thing you want to do is you have this palette. So the palette is what you're going to spend a lot of your time in. Right here, it kind of starts with a basic one. If I click on this, it loads the palette here. And this one, it has a symbol. So it says editor only for the symbol here. It also says editor only for this fill color here. That's just because you only see these in this app. It's not really related to anything you're going to see in game. The symbol that you're going to see for that tile is going to be actually determined by what the background is or if there's any furniture. So, don't worry too much about that. This is specifically to help you. You'll see this within, this app here, and then you'll also see it in the JSON file, which is towards the export side of things. But yeah, so I'll show you how to create a palette. We're going to create a really basic house here. So I'm happy with that being the floor. It's just going to be kind of a normal generic floor. And then I'm also going to create another one. So I'll click Save as New just so you can see that pops up another one here. Let's click on this one here. And I'm going to make a wall. So a good symbol for walls, which is going to show up again in your JSON file, is going to be just a hash. That's pretty good because, it's very noticeable. It's a thick kind of symbol. We're not going to put any foreground stuff in it, but just to show you what's there, this is kind of where you set up your furniture, there's storage furniture, stuff like that. But we'll get to that later. The hex, I'll show you here. So if I go to hex codes, you can click on this here. And what this does is, it's different tools that just allow you to generate a color. For my floor, what I'm going to do is I'll just take a nice kind of brownish color, and then copy this right here, this hex tag, and you can paste that right in. You should be able to paste that in. One sec. Let me try that again. Oh, it's not letting me copy paste that one. Let's try this one. That works. Cool. So yeah, just grab the hex up there or wherever it is, and oh, you know what? It's not letting me paste it in. So what I'm going to do is up here, I'm just going to grab that and I'll type that in there. Okay. So what that's going to do is that's going to set the color. So if I go save, you can see it set the color there. And again, that's just within the editor to kind of help you figure it out. And next thing I'm going to do, I have this one still selected here. I'm going to click on the background here. I'm going to go to a basic type background. And I'm going to grab a wall terrain type. Here's the walls that are currently in here. Pretty much I can just, it's just a list that I can add these onto. And let's make it a wood wall just for fun. I'll save that. So now if I click on this one, you can see it's still the floor. If I click on that one, it's the wooden wall. And so if I go back to the painter now, I have two items in my palette. So if I click on here, you got to click on your palette item, and then you can click anywhere on these tiles. And what it's going to do is it's going to set that tile as being that palette. So here, whenever I click, it's going to set that up as a wall. And so I don't know what I'm going to build here. I'm just going to make a kind of, just the outside of some sort of a building. We'll come back and we'll kind of add some more features later on. We'll replace some of these walls with doors and stuff like that too next. So that's pretty decent. It's a beginning. What it's going to be is there's going to be kind of, there's a road up there and then there's a little house here, which is kind of cool. So if I click back on palette here, I'm going to add another one, and this one I'm going to make it a D, and I'll go into my types, I'll go to a door, and then make it a closed door, and then I'll save it as new. And so what that's going to do is it's going to create a door here too. And just so that's not the same kind of brown, I'm going to make it more of kind of a gray color, and then I'll do the same thing I did before. So 979591. Click on save. So we have a different color there. I can go back into my painter now, and I can drop some doors down, which is pretty cool. And then I'll do the same thing. I'll make a window too. So let's make a W and grab a window type. Let's grab these domestic ones are kind of cool. I want to have one that's closed though. Do I have a closed one? I'll have to add one. Let's do a boarded window. That's fun. And I'll do save as new again. I'm going to grab a blue color. So this one's kind of blue. And then over here, I'm just going to go paste that again. So, okay, and then I'll save that over. Oh, fuck. I saved it over my door. Okay, so here, one second. Let me click on this. And then let's go door. And let's see here. Let's make just a normal closed door. Save that over. And I want to make it a D. There you go. Okay, cool. So let me go to my painter. I'm going to drop a few windows in here too. So as you can see, there's a few things, this is a very alpha level tool. It's not, far in development or anything. So just, set your expectations. You might mess some things up or have to redo some things. And that's just part of the fun. I'm going to click on this one. So again, if I go into my palette, I can click on it and I can see that this one's the floor. So if I go back to Painter, I click on this and I'm just going to paint in my floors just for fun. We'll add some more like beds and items and stuff like that next. But just to kind of, yeah, so, currently this one, what you could do if you really wanted to test it, which is a good idea, you really should test before spending too much time in this thing because, again, it's kind of an alpha level. It's not super developed. Oh, I'm just going to add another door right there so you can get inside from the front. And yeah, anyway, so, just kind of give it a test maybe at this point once you have your outside of your door before you get too deep. Um, and but yeah, I'll go forward because I trust myself. I trust my tool I built. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make another one. Let's just call it. It's going to be C. It's going to be a little cabinet, and I'll go down to the. Um, I'll leave it as a floor on the background, but in the foreground, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go storage, and then we have a storage furniture type. Let's make it a cupboard. And then what we're going to do is this item section here. So if I click on this, it'll add an item. You can add, maybe 2 items. That's how many it supports. That's kind of a typical amount that you'll see in these files. If you need to add more, you can do it through the JSON at the end. But, as a recommended, I'd say really just, 1 is pretty good. I'm going to make it a residential type. Let's see what kind of cool things we can have. Oh, I don't have any in that one. How about domestic types? So bedroom, that's a pretty good one. So let's make it an 80% chance that it's going to have an item from the bedroom list. I don't have any way to, in the app show you what items are in there. So if you really want to see what's in there, you can take a look at the JSON files that are in the core CDDA files. But, you know, I'll let you do that. I don't want to go overboard and have too much in this thing. So I'm going to grab one more color type. It's going to be kind of like a beigey, orangey kind of color, just so that I can, differentiate that cupboard there. And save that over. And then I'm going to go to my painter, and I'm going to drop a few of these cabinets around. just for fun. We'll see what that looks like in game. So that's pretty good, right? You can add more stuff. Let me show you back at this palette. You have all kinds of options here, right? So let's do a bed too. So I'll go B in the foreground. We're going to put residential comfort types and then bed here. And then we're going to have it with that same floor, and we'll save that as new. I'll leave it the same color because I don't want to add another one. Let's add a few. There's a bed in that corner. All right, so there we go. So next step we're going to do the exporting and testing. So if I click on this export here, there's a few different things we have to do. The first thing you want to do really is you want to, let's see if I can, there we go. So let me go to here. So just following these steps here where it says step one, create a folder in /mods. So go to CDDA, data, and then mods. And then I'm just going to go create a new folder. And then I'm going to call it, for me, I'll just call it my demo house, just for fun. Demo house. Okay. And then, so let's see what's step two. So step two, create the text documents with JSON extension for each of the JSON text blocks below. Maybe I should change the instructions because what you should really do is start typing in these fields. So my mod identifier, I'm going to make it my TC demo house. The mod name is just going to be called demo houses. Call it TC demo house, just the one. There's just one location per export. You can kind of stitch together them in the file later if you know how to do JSON, but um, this app specifically, if you just want to use it front to end, it'll generate just one location for you. Author name, you can put your name there. Description adds a demo house or whatever it is you do. And then location ID, I'm going to call it demo house 1. That's kind of, if you have multiple houses, you could use demo house 1, 2, and, things like that, which will make sense once you kind of get into a little bit more of the modding. But this is specifically just kind of, really basic information to get you started. The palette ID. So this is just the name of your palette. You can share a palette or you can use an existing palette. But because of the way that the palette works and because there's not really an import function in this app, I would recommend just, give it a name. Don't worry too much about anything else. And then I'm just going to call it demo house. This is what's going to show up in game here. And so, yeah, so now what I do after you filled in all those boxes, click on export JSON and you'll see it kind of pops up a few things here. And so now we're at now we're at this part here with step 2. So what you want to do is you want to create a text document and you want to call it for each one of these. So the first one there is modinfo.json. And so you can just delete that txt at the end, call it a JSON file, and open that up. And so what you want to do with this, I'm just going to kind of move my screen a little bit so I can copy paste a little easier. You want to copy this stuff and paste it right in. Oh man, okay. I gotta fix something with the app. So just so that you can copy paste stuff because that's pretty essential. So I'm gonna go fix that. I'll be back. Okay, so yeah, so I've fixed it. I've added a copy paste function now, so you can copy paste within the app. And yeah, so what I'm going to show you here is this is how you actually get the files out of the app and into an actual file on your computer. I like to just make it a copy paste because then it's so much more secure. So yeah, what you do is you just click on one of these boxes that should select everything. You copy and you paste it into your file. So here's the mod JSON one. So we just copy paste that, save it, close it, and then we go on to the next one. So next one is the map. So we go new text document. We're going to call it our location. So this one we'll call it TC underscore demo house underscore map, and then we'll make it the JSON file extension. And we just go here, grab all of that, and then paste that in. And you can see there's there's the house, right? And it's in the JSON format. Pretty cool. And then at the same time too, you can see the items. Items go inside the map rather than the palette, which is kind of interesting because within it you define it within the palette, but it actually shows up within this one. And yeah, you can see, it's fairly straightforward. You can see what that's supposed to be. Um, Oh, I can see. I messed up a little bit because I have items, bedroom items spawning on your bed, which maybe something you want to do or not. I think that actually happened because I had to re-upload the app and then rebuild my house, so it was just a little bit sloppy and allowed that to go in on the bed. But anyways, so you get the sense. You can actually edit these JSON files after you're exported. Okay, so there's the house. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make the next file. This one is the palette, so TC demo house palette. Let's open that up. Copy, copy all that stuff. So there's our palette. You can see how those symbols that actually refers to. I'll go through here just some really basic information about how this works. Your palette and your map gen they work together. And over here you can see that dot means a floor. So over here wherever you see that dot dot dot, that's a floor. Same thing for those walls. So that's kind of where those symbols, when you define your symbols, it actually that's the piece that it um, that's why it matters. Okay, so then the next one here, I'm going to make another file. Oh, I just noticed I forgot to make that one a JSON file extension. So that's a JSON. Great. And then we're going to make a new file. This one's going to be the overmap underscore terrain. You don't have to put any. And so we'll open that one up, copy paste. There's our overmap terrain. And then next one, I'm going to do file, and this one's called overmap underscore specials. And so this one is interesting. If you want to get into more of the region spawning stuff, this specials is what you want to look at. And so just to kind of do a really quick overview of what this is, um, you have your ID, which is kind of what's the name of your overmap special actually is what this is defining. The overmap, so this is exactly where the things spawn. So if you wanted to do multiple tile houses, which is kind of, I consider a pretty advanced thing, you're not going to want to do that right off the bat. But take a look at some of those other files. Take a look at any of those other specials files because it'll kind of, you can reverse engineer and figure out what they're supposed to look like. But I think this one is. Yeah. Anyways, I won't I won't go over my reach. But another thing to think about in this file is I've cranked this occurrences up. This is because it's going to randomly generate a world and you want to make sure you get a lot of these in it so that you can find it pretty easy. But when you're ready to publish and release, you're going to want to reduce these occurrences down to maybe, 0 to 10. That's going to be within your whole world. There's going to be 0 to 10 of these, but I want to make sure there's a bunch, so I'm going to make it 100. The other thing too, just to think about is your connections here. So this is where we decided earlier back, I'll go back to our painter and where we were designing our road. So that's kind of where that goes. And right here, it just says, there's going to be a road to the north. And yeah, so connections are kind of interesting because you can link it to kind of different pieces. And then city distance, so that's just, it's because it's within the city. But anyways, that's probably more information that you need to know right now. Okay, so I think that's everything we need to export. So the next thing we want to do is we actually go to our CDDA, and you can go ahead and launch your CDDA. And you can see I just have reshade. It's a cool thing. I like it. It makes it look nice and spiffy. So I'm going to go over to my world settings. I'm going to create a new world. And what you want to do is I have my TC demo houses. So you just make sure you select your mods that you're going to see in the world. And then I'll call my world test demo house. Okay, so then it's created that world. Now we go for new game. I'm just going to do random character and test demo house there. So it's going to create a new character on that test demo. And what it's going to do now is it's going to generate your world. If there's any errors, you're going to see it at this point. So any errors within your map gen or your map file, you'll see it. For instance, this one. So this is the good error. The reason why that one shows up, just going to open up our overmap settings. This is fine. Don't worry about this when you're doing testing. All it means is that your occurrences are set to be pretty high. So, 100 occurrences is a lot. It doesn't expect it to happen normally. And so, and so just know that that's pretty normal. You'll want to reduce your occurrences, and that will remove this error. But yeah, any other errors, if you see them, probably means there's something wrong with your file. So you'll want to take a look at the JSON and make sure that's see if you can fix any of it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just because we're doing a testing, right? I'm showing you how to test your building. I'm going to start with the surrounded start because that just lets you start at a house. And then I'll just start because I don't really, doesn't matter any of the traits or anything. So we started a house. Of course, we're away from a city. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teleport around. So I'll show you how to do that. If you press question mark, shift, shift question mark, you're gonna pop open this key bindings thing, type in debug here, and you'll want to bind debug menu to a key. I have mine bound to space because it's a nice, easy, accessible one. And then you want to hit your space bar, and you can teleport around. So I'm going to teleport to, I'll just do an adjacent overmap, which will launch me really far away. Of course, I'm in the middle of the ocean now. Let's go another place. Let's go teleport. Let's go north. There we go. Now we're in a swamp. And yeah, I'm going to do another one too, which is I'm going to spawn myself some binoculars so that I can see a little further. Um, testing is part of the fun. So just think about that because you're playing while you're testing, which is kind of cool. I'm going to go west. Okay, so there's a little city, but obviously not enough. So we're going to keep teleporting around until we find a big city. I feel like we're getting a little closer here. Demo house, there we go. So yeah, so you just search around until you find the current. So you can see, it says demo house. It's pretty blue. It's kind of hard to see. Okay, so what I want to do now is I'm going to teleport long range again, but I'm going to teleport right onto that spot. And so here we can see it. So here's our house. I'm going to, there's a wasp nearby and a zombie. Okay, so I'll just make sure I don't kind of get murdered while I'm demoing. The audio got a little bit messed up at this part, so I'm just re-recording the audio. And so we can check it out and see what's inside. Looks like there are some random items. Those ones are spawning just great. And yeah, it all looks pretty good. This is totally a playable location. It's all been created right. And yeah, it looks fantastic. There's the bed up there. And you can see all the the boarded up windows. So yeah, here's the house we've appeared at, and you can see it's been kind of rotated. This is pretty interesting because it's not the same as exactly as we did it, but since the road's on the west, it's not at the north. The game has actually rotated. That's the noise. Okay. But anyway, so this is, I can see from my testing that it works perfectly, right? I'm able to. You can see my house. You can see that it all worked and everything. There's the floor as it was defined, the cupboards, the wooden walls. It all worked, right? So yeah, so there you go, right? There's front to exit all the way through. There you see it. That's how you actually can create a map using this tool. So I'm sure you're starting to get all kinds of cool ideas. And yeah, so I hope you have a lot of fun building with this tool. I'm going to have a lot of fun building too because, I wanted to make these maps, but it seemed a little bit too difficult and, not fun doing it through the JSON. I get how, if you're if you're a developer who's been working on the game for a long time, it's, it starts to be like the Matrix, and you can just sort of see what's in the thing without needing to, use your imagination or whatever. But, for folks like me who, a little bit more visual and maybe just first getting into this modding stuff, I feel like this tool is going to be super useful. So, so yeah, I hope you enjoy it and be well, and yeah, have a good one.